The unstoppable force. The Void Collective had ruled for 10,000 years. Their empire stretched across 17 galaxies, each one conquered with methodical precision and ruthless efficiency. No civilization had ever survived their advance. No species had ever escaped their grasp. They were perfection incarnate, a hive mind of billions working as one unstoppable force. Their warships blotted out stars. Their weapons could tear apart the fabric of space itself. When the collective arrived in a new galaxy, resistance was not just futile, it was mathematically impossible. They had calculated every variable, anticipated every strategy, and crushed every hope. Until they encountered humanity. The first warning came from a dying ship. It limped into Earth's solar system, barely holding together, its hull scarred by weapons that defied human understanding. The aliens aboard were refugees from the Andromeda Galaxy, survivors of a civilization that had lasted only 3 days against the collective. "They're coming," the alien captain whispered with his dying breath. "They consume everything. No one has ever stopped them. Run, hide, pray they pass you by." But humans had never been good at following sensible advice. Within hours of the refugee ship's arrival, Earth's leaders convened. Scientists studied the alien technology. Military strategists analyzed the tales of destruction, and somewhere in the depths of human stubbornness a decision was made. They would not run. They would not hide. They would fight. The Terra's hope was humanity's answer to the impossible. Built in secret using a combination of human ingenuity and salvaged alien technology, it was not the largest ship, nor the most heavily armed. But it was fast, adaptable, and crewed by the most unpredictable species in the galaxy. Captain Maria Reyes stood on the bridge as her ship prepared for its maiden voyage. She was a veteran of Earth's Space Force, chosen not for her adherence to protocol, but for her ability to think outside every box ever created. Her crew was similarly selected, misfits, geniuses, and wildcards who had one thing in common. They refused to accept the impossible. "Captain," her first officer, Commander Chen, reported, "long-range sensors detect massive energy signatures approaching from the galactic rim. Configuration matches the refugee descriptions. It's them." Reyes nodded, her jaw set with determination. "How long?" 6 days until they reach the outer colonies. Then we have 6 days to figure out how to do what no one else in 10,000 years has managed." She turned to her crew. "I want every crazy idea, every insane strategy, every impossible plan you've ever dreamed up. We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species they've destroyed, and every civilization they haven't reached yet." The Void Collective's advanced scouts emerged from hyperspace with the precision of a Swiss watch. 3 destroyers, each one capable of reducing a planet to ash, moved in perfect formation toward the human colonies. They had done this thousands of times before. The outcome was predetermined, or so they thought. Terra's hope appeared from behind Jupiter's moon, engines blazing with stolen technology. The collective's sensors immediately locked onto the small vessel, and a moment of confusion rippled through their hive mind. The ship's configuration was chaotic, its energy signatures inconsistent, its very existence an affront to their ordered universe. The lead destroyer fired. A beam of pure destruction lanced through space, designed to vaporize any matter it touched. Terra's hope rolled, dove, and somehow slipped between the quantum frequencies of the attack. It was impossible. The collective's weapons were designed to be unavoidable. Captain Reyes grinned as her ship danced through the deadly light show. "Return fire, but make it interesting." The weapons officer, Lieutenant Patel, had been waiting for those words. Instead of firing directly, Terra's hope launched a series of modified probes that began broadcasting, not weapons data or targeting information, but music. Human music. Chaotic, emotional, unpredictable human music. The effect on the collective was immediate. Their hive mind, designed to process pure information and logical patterns, stuttered when confronted with Beethoven's Fifth Symphony mixed with death metal and punctuated by jazz improvisation. For a fraction of a second, their perfect coordination faltered. Terra's hope struck in that moment of confusion, not with overwhelming firepower, but with precision strikes that targeted the quantum links between the destroyer's systems. The ship didn't explode. It simply stopped working, its crew cut off from the hive mind, experiencing individuality for the first time in their species' history. Panic. The collective had never felt panic before. It spread through their network like a virus, each unit questioning what had happened, how it was possible, what it meant. The two remaining destroyers retreated, carrying with them a message that rippled through 17 galaxies. The humans were different. News of the skirmish spread faster than light. Species that had resigned themselves to eventual consumption by the collective began to hope. The Void's advance, unstoppable for millennia, had been halted by a single ship crewed by a species that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. The collective's response was swift and overwhelming. They dispatched an entire fleet, 100 capital ships, each one a masterpiece of destructive technology. They would not make the same mistake twice. They would annihilate the human homeworld and erase this anomaly from existence. But Captain Reyes and her crew had learned something crucial in that first encounter. The collective's greatest strength, their unified consciousness, was also their greatest weakness. They thought as one, reacted as one, and could be confused as one. As the massive fleet approached Earth, Terra's hope was waiting. Not alone. This time, but accompanied by a handful of retrofitted human vessels, each one modified with the same chaotic systems that had proven so effective. The battle that followed would be remembered across the galaxy as the moment everything changed. The human ships didn't fight with superior firepower. They fought with imagination. They used gravity wells as slingshots, turned asteroid fields into weapon platforms, and broadcasted not just music but images, poetry, and random number sequences that sent ripples of confusion through the hive mind. One human ship, the Copenhagen, performed a maneuver that defied 3 separate laws of physics, appearing to be in 7 places at once. Another, the Mumbai Express, used its damaged engine core as an improvised quantum bomb, creating a localized reality distortion that made collective ships fire on each other. But it was Terra's hope that delivered the decisive blow. Captain Reyes had realized something fundamental. The collective feared chaos because they couldn't understand it. And humans were chaos incarnate. All ships, she broadcast, not just to her fleet but to the collective itself. Execute Operation Pandora. What followed was not a military maneuver but a philosophical assault. Every human ship began broadcasting simultaneously, not weapons data or battle plans but stories. Personal stories of love, loss, hope, and dreams. Images of human art. Snippets of conversation, children's laughter, and the messy, beautiful chaos of human existence. The collective's hive mind, designed to process and categorize all information, tried to understand. It reached out to comprehend these alien concepts, to file them into its perfect order. And in doing so, it made a fatal error. It began to feel. Individual units across the fleet started experiencing emotions for the first time. Wonder at a sunset, sadness at a poem, joy at a joke they suddenly understood. The perfect unity of the collective cracked, then shattered, as millions of beings discovered individuality in a cascading wave of consciousness. Ships turned on each other as newly awakened individuals questioned their orders. Some fled, seeking to explore their newfound sense of self. Others simply stopped, their crews paralyzed by the overwhelming sensation of choice. The battle was over, not with an explosion, but with an awakening. The greatest empire in galactic history didn't fall to superior firepower or better technology. It fell to the one thing it could never understand or defend against, the chaotic beauty of the human spirit. As the collective fleet scattered, a message went out across 17 galaxies. The age of the Void Collective was ending. The age of freedom had begun. And at the center of it all was a small blue planet whose inhabitants had done the impossible, not through strength, but through the simple act of being human. The turning tide. The aftermath of Earth's victory sent shockwaves through every corner of the known universe. For 10 millennia, the Void Collective had been synonymous with inevitable doom. Now, footage of their mighty fleet scattered and confused, spread through underground networks across 17 galaxies. Hope, that most dangerous of emotions, began to flourish in places where it had long been extinct. Captain Maria Reyes stood before the United Earth Council, still wearing her combat suit, exhaustion etched into every line of her face. The room was silent as she delivered her report. "The Collective isn't defeated," she said bluntly. "We've wounded them, shown they can be beaten, but they still control most of their empire. What we've done is created an opportunity, nothing more." The MIAR council members exchanged glances. Admiral Foster, head of Earth's Defense Forces, leaned forward. "What do you need?" "Not what. Who?" Reyes activated a holographic display showing dozens of star systems. "The Collective's former victims. They're out there, billions of beings, who've been waiting for a chance to fight back. We need to reach them before the Collective regains its balance." Within hours, Terra's Hope was back in space, now accompanied by a small fleet of human vessels. Their mission was unprecedented: to forge an alliance among species that had been conquered, some for thousands of years. The first contact came from an unexpected source. A heavily encrypted signal reached Terra's Hope as it patrolled the border of human space. When decoded, it revealed coordinates and a simple message: "You have given us hope. Let us help you spread it." The coordinates led to a hidden base in an asteroid field, home to the Keepers, a species thought extinct by the Collective. They had survived by hiding, by being forgotten, but they had never stopped watching, waiting for their chance. "We are what remains of the Altarian civilization." Their leader, a being of crystalline light named Vex, explained. "When the Collective came, some of us chose death over assimilation. Others chose to hide, to preserve our knowledge for a day like this." The Keepers had spent centuries studying the Collective, documenting weaknesses that could never be exploited, until now. They shared their data freely, asking only one thing in return: to fight alongside humanity when the time came. Word spread like wildfire. The humans had not only survived an encounter with the Collective, but had forced them to retreat. More signals came, each carrying coordinates to hidden enclaves of resistance. The Saurians, reptilian warriors who had fought the Collective for 50 years before falling. The Ethereals, beings of pure energy who had evaded absorption through quantum displacement. The Mechanoids, artificial intelligences who had developed emotions to avoid detection by the hive mind. Each species brought unique capabilities. The Saurians offered their warrior traditions and battle-tested strategies. The Ethereals contributed their mastery of energy manipulation. The Mechanoids provided computational power that could predict and counter collective movements. But it was humanity's contribution that proved most valuable: the ability to think irrationally, to make decisions that defied logic, to find patterns in chaos. Captain Reyes established training programs where human officers taught allied species the art of unpredictability. "The Collective thinks in straight lines," she explained to a gathering of alien commanders. "We need to think in spirals, zigzags, and loop-de-loops. We need to be so unpredictable that even we don't know what we're going to do next." The Void Collective, meanwhile, was experiencing something unprecedented: internal conflict. The virus of individuality that had started during the Earth battle continued to spread. Entire sections of the hive mind were quarantining themselves, trying to maintain unity while purging the contamination of free thought. The supreme overmind, the central consciousness that had guided the Collective for millennia, found itself making increasingly erratic decisions. Some fleets were ordered to attack, others to retreat. Contradictory commands created confusion, and confusion bred more individuality. In desperation, the Collective launched a massive assault on what they believed to be the main human fleet. It was exactly what Reyes had anticipated. The attack, fell into a carefully orchestrated trap, not of weapons but of ideas. The battle took place in the Nexus system, a strategic crossroads of hyperspace routes. As collective ships emerged, they found themselves surrounded not by warships but by transmitters. Each one broadcasted different content. Saurian war songs that spoke of individual glory, ethereal meditation techniques that emphasized self-discovery, mechanoid logic puzzles that had no single correct answer. At the center of it all was Terra's hope, broadcasting a simple message on all frequencies. You have a choice. The effect was devastating. Collective ships began breaking formation as individual crew members experienced the intoxicating rush of free will. Some joined the Alliance immediately. Others fled, seeking to understand their new existence. The coordinated assault dissolved into chaos. But the Supreme Overmind had one final gambit. If it could not maintain control through unity, it would destroy everything to prevent the spread of this individuality virus. Orders went out across the Empire. Activate the Omega Protocol. Every collective ship was to self-destruct, taking entire star systems with them. Captain Reyes had anticipated even this. Working with the mechanoids, her team had developed a counter-virus, not one that destroyed, but one that enhanced individuality. As the Omega Protocol initiated, the counter-virus spread through the collective's quantum network, instead of mindless destruction. Something beautiful happened. Across 17 galaxies, billions of beings experienced simultaneous awakening. The self-destruct commands were questioned, analyzed, and ultimately rejected by newly free minds. The final confrontation came at the collective's core world, where the Supreme Overmind resided in a construct of pure thought. Terra's hope, accompanied by ships from every allied species, approached the massive installation. "This is Captain Maria Reyes," she broadcast. "We're not here to destroy you. We're here to free you." The Supreme Overmind's response was a psychic scream that resonated across space. "Freedom is chaos. Order is perfection. You have destroyed everything." "No," Reyes replied calmly. "We've given you the gift every sentient being deserves, the right to choose your own path." The battle was not fought with weapons but with ideas. Each allied species contributed their perspective on individuality, choice, and freedom. The cumulative effect overwhelmed the Overmind's defenses. For the first time in its existence, it experienced doubt, curiosity, and ultimately wonder. When the Supreme Overmind finally embraced individuality, the change rippled through every remaining vestige of the collective. The empire that had terrorized galaxies for 10,000 years transformed in an instant from a unified force of conquest into billions of individuals, each discovering the joy and terror of self-determination. The aftermath required delicate handling. Many former collective members needed guidance in their new existence. The Alliance established rehabilitation centers where they could learn to function as individuals. Some struggled with the burden of choice. Others thrived, contributing unique perspectives to the growing community of free species. A new galactic order emerged. The Free Alliance, with Earth as one of its founding members, dedicated itself to protecting individuality and freedom throughout the cosmos. Terra's hope became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even the smallest ship could change the course of history. Captain Reyes, offered promotion and comfortable retirement, chose instead to continue exploring. There were still unknown regions of space, still species yet to be encountered, still stories to be written. "The collective taught us something important," she said during a commemoration ceremony. "They showed us what happens when order becomes oppression, when unity becomes uniformity. But we taught them something too, that chaos and order can coexist, that unity and individuality can strengthen each other." The transformation of the galaxy took years. Former collective technology was repurposed for peaceful exploration and development. Worlds that had been strip-mined were rehabilitated. Species that had been thought extinct were found in hidden enclaves and welcomed back to the galactic community. The story of humanity's stand against the Void Collective became legend, told in countless languages across countless worlds. But the core message remained the same. Sometimes the greatest strength isn't in weapons or numbers, but in the simple act of being true to oneself. As Terra's Hope ventured into uncharted space, its crew carried with them the knowledge that they had not just saved their own species, but had ignited a transformation that would resonate through the cosmos for millennia to come. The age of empires built on conformity was over. The age of diversity, creativity, and choice had begun. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, former members of the collective looked up at unfamiliar stars with their own eyes, thought their own thoughts, and dreamed their own dreams. They had been given the greatest gift possible, the freedom to be themselves. The galaxy would never be the same.